Hey everyone! Today I'm going to share with you the basics of book design that you need to know as a self-publishing author. I've been a book designer for 15 years and working one-on-one with self-publishing authors for about 9 or 10 years now. And there are many things that I've noticed as repeat patterns amongst my clients and potential clients that I speak with on the phone or via email over the years. And the number one common thread is just that everyone is pretty confused. The book design process is pretty nebulous, and it's honestly really difficult to find clear-cut information about book design on the internet. There's tons of self-publishing help, and there's a lot of stuff about book design, but a lot of it is more piecemeal or honestly kind of amateur advice. And I think the reason for this lack of information is probably just that book designers we're sort of introverted nerds, and most of us became book designers so we could hide behind our computer. So I think it's just the nature of the personality of a book designer. But the point is, I really want more authors to know this information on how to prepare for book design. It's going to save you time and quite likely money, but the biggest thing I see is authors coming to me saying, okay, I'm ready for book design and I want to have the book out by X date because I have this event, or it's an awareness month coming up for this specific topic, or whatever the case may be, and they are just not at all ready to start. They have materials they need to get in place, they need to make some key decisions about where they're printing their book, or all kinds of things. So I just want to save you from that headache of thinking you're ready for book design only to find out there's a lot more that you have to do, and it could throw off your whole schedule or mess up your whole project plan. So I'm just going to share my screen with you because I made a document. It's a checklist, really kind of a checklist on steroids. There's a lot more info in there and some context around the basics that pretty much every author, regardless of your project type, is going to need to know and do. You can download this PDF for free if you go to www.guide.printedpagestudios.com. I will link that in the video description as well. So if you want to download it and follow along and keep it on file for future reference, feel free. Okay, so this is the self-publishing author's ultimate book design checklist. The next page covers step 1 of the book design process, which is pretty much always front cover design. Front cover design comes first because you need the least amount of things in place to get started. So your front cover design can happen while you're still finishing edits on your manuscript, and it helps keep the process moving along. Also, your front cover design will set the tone for the entire book design. The book interior should match the fonts, or at least go with the fonts on the front cover, and can sometimes pull elements from the design of the front cover. It should be cohesive. And then of course the back cover also flows with the design of the front cover. So the front cover also can get done ahead of time and then be used for marketing because you'll have that image. Really, the main piece that you need to have decided before front cover design is your final book title. And this is one people don't realize, and I have seen many opinions online and things saying that, oh, that's pretty easy to change later. So have your cover design done early, and then if the title changes, the title changes. And I really could not disagree more with that advice, because if you're working with a professional designer who's doing a high quality cover design, the text of the title think of it more like artwork, like an image. Each individual letter is going to be looked at and spaced out and melded with the design. Sometimes the design can flow around the letters, and even changing one letter could potentially have a significant impact on the design, which means depending on your cover design package or what is included, that could be a revisions fee. or it could really just, the design might not work as well as it did previously. And it's definitely just costs you extra time and your designer extra time, if nothing else. So I highly recommend having your title finalized. That includes your subtitle and any other front cover text. The exception is if you think you're going to have a short endorsement, also known as a blurb, for the front cover, and you don't have it in yet, you can always let your designer know to leave space for that. And sometimes that's something that needs to happen, and that's okay. But aside from that, all the front cover text needs to be provided to your designer. It needs to be set in stone, finalized. And the other big thing is the trim size of your book. And by trim size, I just mean the physical dimensions. So in the publishing industry, the term for that is trim size. And common ones for text-driven books or like nonfiction books are 6 by 9 inches, 5.5 by 8.5 inches, 5 by 8 inches. Children's books would be different sizes. There's a lot of different trim sizes. The point is, your book design, the cover and the interior files, your designer will need to prepare them at that exact size, because the printer is going to print the file that your designer provides to you without making any changes to it. They're going to print it directly on the paper of your book. So it's going to be at that size, and it has to be set up that way from the get-go. Changing that later on could be a lot of work for your designer, so it could be delays or potential fees for you. Following from that, you need to know where you're going to print the book, because different printers offer different trim sizes. Most of them all offer the most common trim sizes, so it's usually not an issue. But it's a good idea to know your printer, or at least have a short list of the ones you'll be choosing from, to run it by your designer and make sure there aren't any special considerations that you may need to decide ahead of time. That leads me into your chosen book formats, which is also dependent on the printer. Formats include things like a softcover book, a hardcover book, an ebook, an audiobook. A hardcover book could be split into either a dust-jacketed hardcover, which is the book that has that paper wrapping around it with the flaps, or it could be a case-bound hardcover, which is where the cover design is printed directly on the book's cover. I think most textbooks are like this, and a lot of nonfiction books are that way. So you need to decide what formats you want to publish your book in, because different printers, again, offer different formats. Pretty much everyone's going to offer the softcover option, and I recommend every author do a softcover and an ebook. And then the hardcover is optional. Main thing to know about that is that Ingram Spark offers a dust jacket and a case wrapped, also known as case bound hardcover. But Amazon KDP, which is a really popular printer choice, does not offer a dust jacket, just the case wrapped version. So these are things you need to be thinking about. Every different format of your book is going to require a different cover file. It will be the same design, but it's a different file setup from your designer. They might have slightly different dimensions or different technical specs that the printer will need. So your designer, in order to provide you an accurate quote, is going to need to know that up front. The cover finish refers to whether or not you want a matte or a gloss cover. Those are the two options that most printers offer. There could be other options as well depending on where you're printing your book, but it's just the texture of the cover. And if you have a preference, like a strong preference about it, let your designer know up front so they can keep that in mind while they're designing. Otherwise, it can be decided at the end, or they can help you decide. It's not really a prerequisite per se, but it is something that for some designs, they're going to work better with a matte or a gloss. So it's, as a designer, I personally like to know if my client has a strong preference for one or the other going into it. Those are the considerations for cover design, and I'm going to cover the rest in upcoming videos. Again, all the information is here in this document. I'm just going into a little bit more detail here. If you have questions on any of this, you can comment below, or if you have a request for a specific video topic around book design, please share that with me. I would love to hear it. You can download this free PDF at guide.printedpagestudios.com if you'd like a copy of your own. I really hope this was helpful. I will be covering the book interior design and the last page, which has back cover and spine design and ebook conversion in upcoming videos. Take care, everyone.